Hi guys, it's Wayne from Wayne's Got Gas and Wayne Goodman Photography. Sorry I've not done a video for a few days. I've actually been away in London over the weekend and I've been getting up mad early, ridiculously early, and staying up till mad late, taking panoramas and landscapes and all sorts of all the, as many things as I could around London while I was there. I just wanted to give you a bit of an update on the A7R II. Because at this point, by now with a lot of cameras, I've made my decision of, after a few days of, is it going to stay or is it going to go, basically. And this one's staying, without a doubt. By far, in my opinion, the best camera I've ever had for what I shoot. Now, I don't do much, well, I don't really do any video. I've done video tests recently, but that's not really my thing. My thing is mainly landscapes, cityscapes, things that require good detail, good definition. And this camera has it in bucket loads. I've never come away with images like this has produced for my, even if I was just looking at it from a personal point of view. I'm just so pleased with the results. After a bit of editing, you start to just see these images just have so much micro contrast and contrast and everything. It really is a really, in my opinion, a very good sensor, very good camera. Battery life was something I was concerned about when I first had bought it, because I'd heard previous A7s, A7Rs, they don't last too long. Well, I think everyone's definition of not lasting long is different, and mine comes from when I had a Leica M9. It was an incredible camera, but we were literally talking 60 shots per battery. I mean, that's short. That's not a lot. When in my first days of photography, when I was just snapping everything, that would be an hour. It was gone, and I was carrying as many batteries as I could. And then I switched from that to a Leica M240, and that was a whole world apart. The battery was just on that thing seemed to last for days. You could never seem to run it out, to the point where I actually thought, well, I don't know if this is not doing the battery any good, because I'm only charging it from sort of like 50% each time. But I don't know if that's true or not. In regards to the A7R II, so it's definitely not an M240 in terms of battery life, but it's not an M9 either. It's in between. I've actually been quite impressed with it. The other day I did do an awful lot of long exposures. I mean, that's been mostly what I've done, and I did manage to go through 2 batteries in a day, which I didn't think was terrible, considering I took so many long exposures of like 30 seconds or so. So yeah, I was very impressed. Screen, obviously it does the whole flippy out thing. Now, when I was using my 17mm Architect lens with the Canon 6D, I was really struggling sometimes. It was very hard to sometimes get yourself into a position where you could make sure that everything was spot on with the image, the composition, the detail, the sharpness, the focus, the exposure, just absolutely everything. You have to check it obviously each time you take an image, but the flipping of the screen makes that, I can't tell you how much different it is. Being able to just flip the screen sort of so it's at a 90-degree angle and to you or whatever, and you can just you can even just extend it toward you. So if you've got your camera sort of away from you, and you just want to bring the screen closer, you can even do that. It's not much, but it does make a difference. So I'm actually surprised at how much difference this flippy screen has made. I did think it would be a good thing, but I didn't quite realise how important it would be. Buttons, now getting used to the menu system a little bit. And now I've set my custom buttons up for how I prefer. I do find that I'm not needing to go into the menus as much as I did at first, so that was just a complete learning curve, not having a Sony A7 series camera before. I had the RX1R, very similar layout, but not at all the same really, because it's a kind of a funny camera that it's classed as like a pro point and shoot, like a backup camera, whereas this This A7R II, I still don't think it's a pro camera. I still stick by that, but I think it's a lot closer than what I thought originally. I would like a shutter speed dial and things like that, but you know, I've not got that, so I deal with it. It's no big deal. Yeah, it's just great. The size of it, that's the other thing, the versatility of this camera. Now, so alright, so I'd get up at like 4 in the morning shooting some long exposures. I'd have a massive, big architectural lens on the front of it, and that's its stance then. And then I'd come, you know, during the day, walk around with it, and I'd have a 35mm, you know, the little 2.8 lens that they do from Sony, the FE mount lens, and suddenly it's a small camera and it's a street camera. Basically, it's not much bigger than, say, the M9 or the M240. It's not much bigger than the RX1R, so it's a great walk around, travel sort of setup, and you know that every image you're going to be able to crop if you want. You've got all that detail, and you've got good results. You know, at ISO 100, it's really pretty amazing. You know, like I say, in my opinion, I'm giving you my total honest opinion. I have bought the camera myself. I'm not paid by anybody or anything, as you can probably tell by the, you know, by these videos, but it's just my honest opinion of spending all that money, and is it worth it? Has it been worth it? And I really do think it has changed my photography to a degree as well. So yeah, definitely, it's definitely worth it. I bought that case for it, which is great. It was only 20 quid, which I showed you in the other video for the accessories, and that made a difference to the grip, because I do find that the hand holding of it, for my hand shape, it can just be a little bit uncomfortable, but once I put that £20 case on, now it's suddenly so much better. Really nice to hold. The buttons are all in the right places on the camera. I'm just finding it, as you can probably tell, very, very good. One thing I did find, I'd read that on a long exposure, if you switch on long exposure noise reduction, it drops the bitrate down from 14 to 12, and there's no way around that unless you turn it off. So because I'd heard that, the first night of shooting, doing my long exposures, I actually had that feature switched off, so the long exposure noise reduction switched off completely. And first results were fantastic. I was looking at it and thinking, oh, I love these pictures. I zoomed right in, suddenly I've got bright pixels, I've got yellow, I've got red, and no matter what I do in Lightroom, it doesn't get rid of it. I'm sure I can then blend it with a black layer in Photoshop and things like that, but it's just something that I decided to switch to in-camera long exposure noise reduction, and I haven't noticed a problem with editing the 12-bit photos. I've not found any extra artifacts, things like that. I'm happy. So it might just be something that will save you time in post to actually switch that function on. That's definitely something I would point out. Focusing with the 35mm lens, I hadn't really used it out on the streets until now. I found that pretty good. It's very quick, very accurate. I switched it to single point focus and didn't have any issues. When I switched it to the wide focus, which is the thing Sony are touting, to me, it doesn't work for me, because the camera doesn't know what you want to focus on. If it's a bit of a busy scene, it will sometimes pick up on just a more contrasty area than, say, the person in front of you. But yeah, honestly, I don't think anybody could be disappointed with this camera. You've got huge amounts of dynamic range. The files just really, you know, like to be edited in Lightroom. I'm really impressed, and I think that most people would be impressed by it. I don't think anybody would be at all miffed if they'd bought it, spent all that money on it. Just don't over anticipate things. I mean, you know, we all live in this world of marketing where they tell us this is going to be great and that's going to be great. I mean, I've seen some reviews that show that the results from a D810 sensor are actually very, very similar in terms of a lot of things like detail, noise, that sort of thing. So, you know, I mean, the main reason why I like the Sony though is because I have one lens that will not work on a Nikon, and that's the Canon 17mm. So the Sony was the choice for me, and it's become a very versatile option. The other thing I would say though is that somebody pointed out in one of my previous videos, I've got the 7200 millimeter lens from Canon, and it's the version 1 with the image stabilization. Somebody sent me a link and said, look, this guy's reviewed the version 2 and it seems much better. So I'm thinking, oh, that's interesting, maybe I should get rid of the version 1 and buy the version 2, spend more money, but maybe that's going to work as it should do on the A7R2. Maybe this hype that we've all been hearing is actually correct, you know, with a Metabones adapter and the new version of lens. I emailed that person, I actually put a message on their video, and I said, how are you finding this lens at 70mm versus 200mm? And they actually responded in the video and said that the video was also like mine was at first at 70mm, but at 200 it's not having a good time at all. And I've also heard Tony Northrup, I think I saw his video, he said similar things, like at certain lengths of a zoom it's better, and it's usually the nearer end. So be very, very wary of listening to a lot of the hype, and just make sure this is definitely the camera for you, because it's a lot of money to get wrong. But for me personally, I'm keeping it. I love it. I'm really pleased with the results, like I keep saying, and I'll try and get some pictures up onto my Flickr. I'm aiming to do that, but I've got to sort of edit my website and a few other things in between, so I'll do that ASAP. But it's yeah, I'm happy. So keep subscribing, keep commenting. I will bring you some more video reviews, and like I say, I'll try and get some image reviews to you that I've produced from the camera, and you know, you can see sort of what I've been able to achieve with it. And keep liking my videos, commenting and subscribing. Thanks a lot.